We got to talk about President Trump on 60 Minutes. It was the first time in a long time that President Trump did the flagship news show of America, which I think is accurate to call 60 Minutes, even though they've entirely lost their way over the last couple months. Hopefully, they're riding the ship over there at CBS as they have new ownership, new leadership. Maybe we'll see some tact towards fairness. Hopefully, I'm optimistic. I'm an optimistic, very cynical person, which I know are kind of contradictory, but I believe that possibly they'll right the ship, and also in my heart I believe that they won't. But President Trump did an episode of 60 Minutes in which a lot of things were discussed, and I want to play you a couple clips from that episode. It was Norah O'Donnell who was interviewing the president, who was not a fan, if you remember anything from, the debates, from prior interviews with President Trump. But interestingly enough, President Trump, not surprisingly, was hilarious on that. And the funniest thing he said, we're going to save for the end. But this I thought was the clip that's been making the rounds, causing the biggest buzz. Glenn, this is clip 4 of the president being asked about ICE and whether or not the border activity has been thorough enough. Watch this.
More recently, Americans have been watching videos of ICE tackling a young mother, tear gas being used in a Chicago residential neighborhood, and the smashing of car windows. Have some of these raids gone too far?
No, I think they haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the judges, by the liberal judges that were put in by Biden and by Obama.
You're okay with those tactics?
Yeah, because you have to get the people out. You know, you have to look at the people. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are people that were thrown out of their countries because they were, criminals.
I just love this because look at her face. Well, that's fine. It's like she thought she had a gotcha moment. President Trump, ICE has tackled a mother. Okay, well, what did that mother do? Why was she in the country illegally? What crimes did she possibly allegedly commit? And President Trump does not take the bait at all, says, no, they haven't gone far enough, which is a hilarious and also very accurate answer. I don't think we've gone far enough. You know why? Because far enough would be getting the 11 million people who came in under the Biden administration out of the country, not to mention the 15 million who are already here. In other words, until we have purged ourselves of all of the people that came into the country illegally, who don't share the language, who don't share the values, who don't know the language, who don't know all of the things that you need to do to become a United States citizen, or at least a functioning member of our United States society, until all of those people are gone, until bye-bye, adios to all of them, no, we haven't gone far enough. And yeah, are there going to be mishaps? Are there going to be rough videos? Uh-huh. That's just what enforcing the law looks like. You know who you blame is the previous administration who let all the people into the country illegally, that has now made it a priority for this administration to have to get those people out. Enforcing the law doesn't look like this nice, sweet... You know what? How about this? How about this, Norah O'Donnell? Until the people who are here illegally all start going, oh yeah, totally, no problem. I'll go right with you. Until they are super polite about being arrested, or super polite about having to be deported, or even self-deport. Until that happens, guess what? You're going to see some rough tactics necessarily being used because, well, you have to get the people out of. If a criminal is doing something illegal, and law enforcement is not allowed to use force on that individual to subdue them and end the threat to the surrounding civilians, then what the heck are we doing? I love the fact that he did not bend on that at all. Speaking of not bending, this is a clip talking about the DOJ. This is cut 3. This is I think President Trump is one of the best people at this. When you talk about like media and media interaction, there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. There's a lot of thought that has to go into it. And part of being really, really good at the media, and President Trump is writing, editing, and then executing in real time in the moment, which is not easy to do, but President Trump does it so well. This is him being asked about the DOJ and prosecuting people who allegedly committed crimes that we all saw and all witnessed, and what he thinks about it. Check this out, clip 3.
James Comey, John Bolton, Letitia James were all recently indicted. There's a pattern to these names. They're all public figures who have publicly denounced you. Is it political retribution?
You know what? You know who got indicted? The man you're looking at. I got indicted, and I was innocent. And here I am because I was able to beat all of the nonsense that was thrown at me. And yet, when you go after a dirty cop like Comey, or a guy like Bolton, who I hear has, I don't know anything about it. I hear he took records all over the place, who knows? Letitia James is a terrible, dishonest person, in my opinion.
Did you instruct the Department of Justice to go after
Not
them?
in any way, shape, or form. No, you don't have to instruct them because they were so dirty, they were so crooked, they were so corrupt that the honest people we have, Pam Bondi's doing a very good job.
I know I said I was going to be optimistic about CBS, but did you hear how she couched that question? Hey, these people have all been critical of you. Oh, okay, fine. If you're critical of the president, you're allowed to break the law with no limits whatsoever. You're just allowed to do anything you want because if he prosecutes you, then it's definitely political. And I love the answer there. No, this is so dirty in the fact that we've been dealing with this sort of corruption for so long. Everybody knows that this is how it needs to go if we're going to uphold our priority of enforcing the law in this country. Lastly, I want to get to this. This is, well, actually, you know what? To further hint on that, this is obviously an evolving thing going on. The government shutdown is still happening, which I have yet to notice. I might notice on some flights later in this week. Because, you know, maybe air traffic controllers might take some time off depending on, without getting into all of the nuances there. For the most part, like I haven't really noticed that the government shutdown has happened. The food stamps, the SNAP programs, the welfare that people are getting in order to spend taxpayer money on very nice high-ticket items, which if you don't think is happening, you're a fool. It's definitely happening. There are so many places that say, we accept EBT, where I go, why does that place accept EBT? Anyways, stop going off track here, Jobob. The point is that those were set to expire November 1st. The Trump administration said, yeah, we're just going to let them expire. But a judge said, no, you have to come up with the money in order to cover the SNAP/welfare/food stamp programs. Now, what the libs won't tell you is that, well, the Trump administration is going, okay, well, the court said that we have to do this, so we're going to have to go find some money somewhere and find out how to at least partially pay these to satisfy the courts. In other words, all of the things that the libs do, defying the courts in so many ways, President Trump has not done, but has been accused of doing. So, all that to be said, the Trump administration not defying the courts until they defy the courts blatantly and openly, which the libs say that they're doing, but they're not actually, we don't have a problem. He's just a guy trying to run the White House in the most effective and most efficient way possible. All of that to say, here's the funniest clip. Cut 5.
Zorhan Mandami, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the front
Communist, not socialist, communist. He's far worse than a socialist.
Some people have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
Classic Trump. Oh, he's uglier than me. But, you know, it's subjective. You can't actually... Here's the thing. I also think, too, libs on Twitter or X were like, President Trump thinks he's better looking than Mom Donnie, who's, you know, 30-something years old and has a great smile, and President Trump is 80, almost 80 years old, and... Nobody's taking this seriously. It's a joke. It's a joke from a funny guy who happens to be a very effective president as well, clearly making a joke of a ridiculous statement. Yeah, Mom Donnie is a left-wing version of you. I don't think so. He's not nearly as pretty. Hilarious. Only a TDS lib would get their panties wadded up in a bunch over this sort of thing. Hilarious. Overall, just classic Trump. So excited that got to 60 minutes because I do know that a bunch of libs watch 60 minutes. And not that we're going to change their minds on this particular interview, but maybe you see the lighter side of the lighthearted Trump takes sometimes, at least, on your lib news outlets.